Hello, everyone. My name is Drew Dosek, pro trader here at Verified Investing, and green shirt for green day. What a pop in the markets we had today. Incredible, but breadcrumbs were left for us early this morning. Donald Trump tweeted out on Truth Social that today is a great day to buy, sign DJT. Initially, his stock popped and ripped about 9 or 10%. The rest of the market was under pressure, but later on in the day, we found out why. Universal tariffs are going to be paused, but 10% tariffs will apply to everyone except for China. China is going to be increased up to 125% tariffs on goods, and that 10% of tariff for all the other countries will apply while negotiations are going on. So let's jump into the charts and check out this awesome action that's happening right now on the screen. This is incredible. Guys, look at this. Dow Jones up 8%, NASDAQ is up 11.6%, S&P 500 bracing and getting close to 10% up in the day. U.S. oil is also up 7%. Short-term economic gains means that business can start doing business as usual. Incredible move. Gold is now also up 3.52% because our debt and the other issues aren't gone. So still that's catching a gain. Bitcoin up 7.72%, but look at this massive green screen that you see on the right-hand side of the charts. Unbelievable move. Everything was red earlier in the day, but this was to be anticipated. Not this big of a move, but remember yesterday in the S&P 500 when I was talking about how this big green candle had massive volume right here, 256 million shares, and it did so telling everyone there's a lot of buyers here that wanted to defend this area on the charts. I said if price action opens up in this candle's area right around here, and this candle's a big candle, but as long as we didn't gap down underneath that, there was a chance that we can consolidate sideways, or if good news came, the markets were going to rip. And sure enough, look at this massive move. But today's episode too, I want to highlight technicals. Technicals is what drives us as technical swing traders, as technical day traders. Technical analysis is extremely powerful and important for you guys to understand, because look where the day is finishing here on the spiders. Right here into the bottom end of that parallel. You can see if we zoom in on the 10-minute chart too, when price action was exploding up off of the news of a pause in tariffs, we paused right here at this trend line, pulled back, and now we went up to the next area of resistance and are pulling back right off of that area too. For the next day or two, I imagine this euphoria will carry over and we're going to start moving back up into this parallel channel. The high-end test, I think this 50% area can be reached at 569.04. First area to watch, though, is going to be a gap fill at 564.52. Into the IWM. All right, so the IWM had an engulfing reversal candle from this previous red candle right here, which is extremely bullish. So on the charts, the first area of resistance, which we discussed the other day, is 197.20. This is important for smaller cap stocks and also local bank stocks. So good news for them. On to Bitcoin, another risk asset pushing higher. And we noted yesterday how this Bitcoin asset was not selling down as much as the S&P 500. So that indicated relative strength. As you see here, people are buying up Bitcoin. So next area of resistance is going to be these pivots, these pivot bottoms that you see right here. You can see that right at $86,247. And all of this too, as I mentioned, is part of my course, what I teach by trading with time, the sleeper hold, mastering the overnight trade. This is a pattern set up right here and was notated right here for potentially a bounce up on Bitcoin, which is what we're seeing right now. Into gold, we see gold, it came back down over the last several days, retested the top end of the parallel. And yesterday we looked at the weekly chart and this topping tail. We haven't eclipsed that topping tail, but we're going back and retesting it, which is typically very, very normal for topping tails. They often get retraced 50 to maybe even 75% of that retrace before selling commences. We'll watch this towards the end of the week to see if price action can close above this topping tail right around $3,170. Into silver, with good economic news, silver is breaching this area of the trend line, getting back into this in this area that could be bullish short-term price action for silver. We already ran right into resistance with this pivot. So if we consolidate here, potentially even retest the bottom end of this trend line, we could get a springboard bounce right up to the next area of resistance around $32 on the chart. The trend line for that bounce is $30.56. Into oil. Oil had a fantastic move, also engulfing reversal candle right here on the price of the chart. We didn't quite reach the measured move. However, since this is a technical course today and technical show, look at how price action came down, confirmed beneath this trend line. That now flips this area into resistance and major resistance. If we do not gap above this tomorrow, expect price action to pause right here, even start consolidating, and before it can break through. Into natural gas, another great example of technical analysis. Over the last couple of days, we were looking at the weekly chart. And you can see here on the weekly chart with the fib still shown and displayed how price action was coming down. And I'd mentioned this zone right here underneath the 236 fib retrace, which is $3.57, and this inclining trend line will provide support. Now back into the daily, look at how it hit that trend line to a penny. This is how powerful technical analysis is to help you trade the charts. You guys can make a ton of profit understanding how to draw trend lines, what pivots matter. Again, this is something I go over in great depth and detail in one of my courses, the Mastering the Overnight Trade, the Sleeper Hold. Now, here was a big story of the day, the 10-year yield. So the 10-year yield we discussed yesterday, how it had a massive green candle here, caught support on this parallel, and then had another continuing move yesterday. But then today we were pushing price up to make a 3-bar surge. This was going to put pressure on the markets because interest rates going higher, and then potentially also retaliation from other countries unloading our treasuries on the market. We had a bond auction today that took place, and the bond auction actually went pretty well. If you see here, it transpired around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Price action was reaching the high of the 10-year yield right here. And you see this was the very high of the day, but price was just coming right back up to the top of it. And then right at 1 o'clock, when the results of that bond auction were released, the 10-year yield dropped, got a little pop, and then just continued dropping all throughout the afternoon. That's great for future business here in the United States, and also any folks that are interested in buying houses, cars, and large purchases like that, because potentially interest rates will start coming back down. Now, into some of the bigger stocks. This is incredible to see this price action with these candles. The sizes of these candles have such importance on the chart because they're going to dictate price action for near term in going forward for maybe even a week or so. So back to technical analysis. This trend line right here, it was never broken beneath and confirmed beneath. We did not have a closing day beneath this first candle that broke it. So what that did is it meant that this trend line was minor resistance. Until this candle was closed beneath, it was never confirmed under beneath. So that told me that price could still go up, even though we tested it 2 days ago, tested it this day, didn't close above, but then boom, look at that rocket ship right into this technical resistance of $114.60. We see here price action closed at $114.33 and is now trading back down at $114 after hours. Should Nvidia continue higher over the next couple days, you'll be anticipating resistance at 119.75 and then the bottom end of this parallel, which is right around $122.10. Into Tesla. Tesla had a monumental bounce today, up 22%. Incredible move on Tesla. This is one of the bigger caps that did have the largest move. And we're going to jump into another one here in a minute with AVGO. But if I zoom in closer, well, look at this technical analysis of this trend line. This trend line was going to be the first area of resistance. And that was because this drawn from pivot to pivot, but notice it was already hit 3 times, tested and kissed right here a 4th time. So now we're hitting it a 5th time, which makes it weaker. So if you zoom back in on the 10-minute chart, I took a day trade when price eclipsed this area today. We took a small gain when price retreated, but the markets were so strong, I wasn't hanging around that long. Price action continued to push higher through the end of the day, as you see right here. big move on Tesla. Next upcoming resistance on Tesla is going to be this big declining trend line that we have from the all-time highs. And that area of resistance is going to be roughly 292 and 83 cents. AVGO. All right. What a big bounce on this stock too. 18.6%. Now, this stock ripped through the parallel, which is extremely bullish in the near term. However, whenever price gets back into an area like a parallel like this, what I like to see for momentum to continue is price action to come back down, retest the bottom end of this parallel, and then explode up higher. You could also potentially see that happen if euphoria continues into the next few trading days. We could hit this trend line, which is roughly 196.65, then retreat down, hit that parallel, and then continue bouncing higher. That would be ideal for AVGO. And also notice, I notated here on the chart, this area was major support for AVGO, $130 to $147. As you see, we tagged it 2 days right here, and then price action catapulted way up into the stratosphere now, 183 and 185 that it closed today. Incredible move by AVGO. Now, Apple, another one of the massive stocks. This one's going to be important to watch over the coming days. And the reason being, it confirmed beneath this declining trend line right here. So price action came down, hung out right here for a little while. And as we know, with the tariffs still being 125% on products made from China, Apple is one of those companies that makes a lot of their components in China. So watching Apple's price action into the coming days is extremely important to see how well this stock is going to do. And so the very next area of resistance isn't that far away. We're talking about $201.97 on the chart. Now, one way to evade this trend line and resistance is for price action to gap above it, because all the power that would be exerted getting through that trend line is then freed up to continue moving higher. So if you're a bull on Apple, you want price action to gap above basically 202. If it can gap above 202, you might be looking for some decent upside with Apple. Next area of resistance is going to be 208.74, but the big target I have is this gap fill up at 223 and 83 cents. Man, incredible action today on the charts. Guys, let me tell you, we closed out so many swing trades today. The alerts were hitting my phone left and right. I was sending out a whole bunch of alerts to our members. Our members are very happy today. Lots of money was banked on this move, and it's all because of technical analysis. Hopefully you were able to pick up some of that today in this show and use it on your own in the future. If you want to learn more, come join us on some of our services. We go over this stuff on a daily basis to help you make money and the retail trader make money in this big economic world that we're in. All right. Thanks so much for watching Trading the Close. Again, my name is Drew Dosek. I look forward to bringing you guys some more information tomorrow, but stay on your toes. Everything with this new president, news can change tomorrow, and we're going to be ready to trade it. No doubt about it. You guys take care.